Gentleman, Mr. O'Rourke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. General Flynn, thank you for your testimony, for your service. I think you made a number of excellent points, including the need to have a clear and comprehensive strategy from the administration before we move forward with an authorization for the use of military force. You also talked about our need to rethink our relationships with our regional allies, and I think you said something to the effect, if they fail to adhere to global standards and norms and values in international law, then we need to rethink our ties, and I think you may have even said cut off those ties. When I think about our allies there, the royal family in Saudi Arabia, the prior leadership in Yemen, al-Maliki prior in Iraq, Sisi, these are governments that in many cases are amongst the most corrupt or venal or repressive in the world, and yet they are our allies in this fight. How do we pursue a strategy in that region and be consistent to the advice that you gave us, which I think is really good advice, and I think those repressive regimes and our relationships with them complicate our ability to be effective in the Middle East?
Yeah, and so thanks very much for asking that question. This is the essence of the problem. This is not a military phenomenon that we are facing. Back to the ranking member's, missive about what he was talking about with military and boots on the ground, and everybody's sort of throws that phrase around. We need to stop using that, by the way. We need to really understand, what does that mean? This is a social, a cultural, and a psychological phenomenon, particularly in the Arab world, and the potential breakdown of sort of Arab world order over time if we do not change this mindset and really move some of these countries to change their internal behavior. What we saw in Egypt as an example of essentially 3 regimes, now President al-Sisi in there, and what President al-Sisi is trying to do is he's just trying to bring a sense of security and stability before they can even think about returning to any kind of form of prosperity. I think a country like Jordan, the king there and how they treat their population and how they are being, really exceptional, moderate example within this very, very difficult part of the world that we're in. There are other templates, if you will, out there. But the underlying conditions that I think everybody recognizes, all of us recognize, if those underlying conditions don't change, then what is going to happen is this problem is going to continue to grow, and it's going to undermine the stability of these countries to the point where they're going to lose. They're eventually going to lose. And it's not just Iraq and Syria and what we're seeing there. I mean, we're already talking about, a lot of other places around the trans-region area that are at risk. I mean, what just happened with this Houthi separatist movement down in Yemen? This movement's been going on for a long, long time, and then of course you got Al Qaeda that took over this military base. I mean, Libya, those 2 states right now, and we should look at ourselves. Those 2 states right now are failing or failed states, or will become that way, because who will recognize Yemen? Will it be us, or is it going to be Iran? Because Iran fully backs that Houthi separatist movement that just took over Yemen, and that was a country that we were trying to defeat this threat, this Sunni version of radical Islam. So I mean, this is that's the essence of the problem, and we have to look at how do we want to act. When somebody sits at the table of the United States of America, they better be sitting there fully recognizing international law and at least having a recognition of internationally accepted norms and behaviors. If they don't, we're being hypocritical.
And I wonder if we have the will to act on that and to really deliver some consequences, withdrawing military aid, isolating those countries, rethinking our relationships. And in the past, we have proven unable to do that or unwilling for probably important tactical or strategic reasons. And I think we'll really be tested right now. My time's up. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, just real quickly, we're not chained by oil to the United States is no longer chained to the Middle East for oil. That's a big deal. So sorry. Sorry, Chairman.
Appreciate it. Mr. Lamborn.